Welcome, Christchurch St Albans. I'm Jeremy, the vicar, and it's towards the end of July. At last, we are able to get back together again. Yeah! We have regulations to follow, of course, and we have to keep everyone's safety paramount. But we can begin meeting again, and we're going to do that on Sunday, August the 9th at 9:15. I think you'll probably recognise the fact that church won't look the same. For a while, it may never look the same again, and so for the time being we are going to have to keep up our online presence through recording or live streaming, and we're also only able to have one worship service on a Sunday. Nevertheless, it's a very joyful moment as we take these first steps back towards fully meeting together and fully functioning as a church. The 9:15 service on August the 9th will be followed by watching together what's online, the Christchurch worship service that we've been recording online, and then we're going to have a picnic together, weather permitting. So even if you're unable to come to the early service, then please do feel able and willing to come to the picnic so that we can actually clap eyes on each other and laugh and enjoy eating. All those things that mean so much to me. So that's dealing with Sundays, and we will continue to, from August the 9th onwards, we will continue to have a Sunday service live here, which will evolve into something as the regulations ease further. And we will try and find ways of eating together to enable us to spend relaxed and social time together. Also on Wednesdays, we've started to develop a pattern too, which is that at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, we're meeting in church to share Holy Communion. And at 8 o'clock in the evening, so the church is open throughout the day for anyone for private prayer. But at 8 o'clock in the evening, we're emphasising the possibility that people can gather together to pray. And not only is that social, but it's also, there is power in praying together. As we take these steps towards coming back together into what is a very new situation, it seemed to me a really good opportunity to think again about what we do and why we do it. The book of Acts is instructive in this regard, and on that day of Pentecost, where the disciples were together in one place, which in itself is interesting, it's when they were together that the Spirit falls. Peter preaches his amazing sermon, and over 5,000 people turn to Christ on that first day. Now there's a summary at the end of that about what happens next. And this summary is to do with the day of Pentecost and the following weeks, but it is also considered the groundwork for what church is meant to look like. And it says this: they devoted themselves, so this is all the disciples, the 5,000 or whatever. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favour of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Massively helpful in terms of the fundamentals. So those that came to Christ set a high priority on meeting together. They would eat together and they would meet together. They would meet together, though, for social reasons, but also because they wanted to pray, because they wanted to hear the word, so that's the scripture, the apostles' teaching. They needed to learn what it meant to be a disciple. And they gathered together to break bread, which we would translate that in some sense into what we call communion. Now it's all become rather formalised and wordy, but actually that sharing of bread did have a sacramental character. They were recognising not only that they all belonged to each other by sharing the bread, eating together, but they recognised that they belonged to him together. So we belong to Christ as our head. He is the head of the body. We are his body. But we are one bread because we all share in the one loaf. So there's a sacramental thing going on. So prayer, sacrament, scripture, learning together about scripture, meeting together. There's also this expectation that God is going to move in our midst, and that would be just wonderful, wouldn't it, if we can pick that up again. And then as a consequence of that, the sense that more and more people were hearing the gospel and they were responding to it and being saved themselves. Overriding it too is this massive sense of joyfulness and generosity, just giving, a sort of abandonment. I think these are just wonderful truths for us. And so even in August, in small ways, on Sundays and on Wednesdays, we're trying to meet together. We're trying to share the sacrament, have communion together. We're praying together, and we're going to share the word together. We're going to listen and receive what God is saying to us. So some marvellous things. And I think it would be also a good opportunity for us to begin to say, well, what has God been teaching us during this time? What do we need to hold on to from the pandemic, which will lead us into the future? And what do we just need to lay down and move on from? So some good questions, but plenty to come in August and after that. So August the 9th, 9:15, here at Christ Church. And every Wednesday, from now, we've already started, 10 o'clock